IVM.
Hey, so what do you think Jishnu, Dinkar and I have in common? Well, it's all that we are solid underachievers. But if you like the opposite, which is that of a superachiever, then you should definitely check out the Vishal Gondal Show, where Vishal, the host who I just named and is also in the title of the show, The Vishal Gondal Show, interviews superachievers like Ronnie Screwwala, a great superachiever, Amish Tripathi, another great superachiever. So, if you're an achiever and would like to become a superachiever, then you should probably check out The Vishal Gondal Show. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Food Podcast. At Tejas, today I have with me a special guest. I have Hoezaay. What's up, man?
Hi Tejas.
Does it feel good when you don't have an introduction that is longer than like 30
That's
seconds?
really nice. I was like, wow, he's getting straight down to business.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
awesome.
but I have to say some shit, man. Otherwise, I feel like this is a waste of an opportunity.
There's a format.
Okay, cool. No, well, this show, if you've heard this show before, I know all our listeners who are saying this, there is no format to this show. There is no fucking anything on the show. But having said that, I'll give you this. I'll say two sentences about you, and then we'll move on. Because I want to say that you don't really need that much of an introduction. You're
Thank you.
Legit. You're a bona fide
Nobody wants
star.
nobody wants to know me, so they're like, we don't want an introduction. Please stop.
No. I mean, like, do you find a lot of people more interested in you versus your comedy? Like, obviously, people always want to know about your comedy and stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm not on the Amitabh Bachchan level yet. So, people are like, Amitabh Bachchan, what does he eat for breakfast? Hoezaay, who?
No, but I'm saying the era of wanting to know about a dude is gone now. You have to be on the level because you're on Instagram and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's like a daily story upon
I'm
story.
in that zone where I have to keep providing content for people to be interested in me.
Yeah, that's their breakfast.
Because,
what do you have for breakfast?
Because people look at my face like, no.
What do you have for breakfast? Hashtag content. That's what I do. So, Hoezaay, so I'm not super big on the comedy scene. I think it's like, a first move advantage. A lot of people are in it right now. And so there's a lot of good stuff. There's equally a lot of bad stuff. I like some comedians, but I can certainly say that you are legit one of the funniest guys I've seen.
Thank you. That's very kind.
And I've known you since. I've been watching your stuff since your VJ days. So that was my life also. You have to understand. I was working at Glitch, an agency which literally fed off MTV, and oh my gosh. Anyway.
Hi Varun, how's it going?
Yeah. So he was on one of the shows at IVM podcast.
Is it?
So yeah. So thanks for being here. I'm glad that we can explore another side of you, which is the gamer, the nerd.
I'm amazed that this is like a legit thing. We're sitting and discussing video games. Yeah, I never thought that would happen. That's awesome.
This is something I've been trying to tell people.
That's why I was like, I must support this.
Catch it while it's hot.
I'll jump in.
It's only been going on for 160 episodes for 2 years. Dinkar, Jishnu and I find a way to make it to Geek Foods podcast every single week. Awesome. And so we've been doing this. But it's good. That you're endorsing this is nice. You can change your mind at the end of the episode. But so just to kind of get people into the know, a lot of people know you about your comedy, but tell us, what is your nerd cred? Like, just to kind of establish, what are you most proud of doing or nerding out for that a lot of people won't know about you? Do you have a thing like that?
Yeah, I love being alone.
Hey.
I like interacting with people, but being alone is so nice. And I like messing around with like opening shit up and putting it back together.
Okay, cool.
So,
you're like a tinkerer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, only if it needs to. I mean, I ruined one of my PlayStation controllers.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I thought I'd fix it, but then I just completely, it's not in this universe anymore.
Whoops.
But I like tinkering around, building computers.
Nice.
Messing around with Raspberry Pis. I just recently started doing that.
Cool.
I built an ad blocking server in my house.
Wow.
So no ads in my house.
Wait, what do you mean you built an ad blocking server?
So through a Raspberry Pi, you install something on a Raspberry Pi called Pi-hole. and then you route all your network traffic through that, and then you get no ads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something I've been definitely wanting to get into, but now that you have...
Brilliant.
legit. Okay, well done. So you're you're a legit nerd. And I want to say also, you're saying you want to be alone.
But you can't say that yourself, right? Someone else has to say that.
It has to, yeah. So I'm telling you.
I'm putting in my application.
I'm dubbing you. You're a nerd. No, it's cool. The other thing is that the role of the nerd has changed over many years.
Yeah.
We're cool now again. Do you realize that?
We were always cool.
I mean, we were always cool.
Now people are accepting it.
Publicly cool. We actually get a podcast to talk about Spider-Man for the PS4, which is my segue into what we're doing. Quickly before that, you want to tell me what are the games you've played this year? And you're a PlayStation guy, so I'm going to say you're on the Team Sony.
Yeah, so Persona 5.
Nice, okay.
Oh my god, amazing. Horizon Dawn
of course,
Zero. Everyone has played that. You have to get that. And if you had bought a PlayStation, then that was the only thing that was out. So everyone was like, "Oh, I must get that."
PS4 or PS4 Pro?
PS4 then.
Is it? It adapts, right, to the HDR now? Doesn't it?
So if you're on a PS4 Pro and your display is not a 4K HDR, you can scale down to 1080p and get a slight performance boost.
Okay.
But I did that with Spider-Man. I didn't find any difference.
I
run everything on 4K.
Yeah, it's marginal. I was watching some videos of the different, but I mean, whatever. It looks
looks
great.
Awesome and plays awesome.
Any other? What is your favorite game this year so far? You played?
Shit.
I know, tough question. But I'm gonna say
Spider-Man's right up there, but
it is
God of War, man.
I'm yet to play it, so this is why I don't know yet. That's why Spider-Man is still my favorite this year.
Like Spider-Man, when it came out, people kept saying, which is better? Is Spider-Man better or is God of War? And my first thought was, you cannot compare them.
You can't.
In fact, can't compare them.
I was getting the other thing, which is which is better? Is it better? Is it Arkham Knight versus or any of the Arkham series versus Spider-Man? And again, they still feel like two different things.
Yeah, in terms of an experience, they're very different experiences.
Yeah.
But what they both get absolutely right is they suck you in completely.
Man, totally.
It's like you're playing a movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, remember back in the day, you play a video game and you wouldn't really feel anything.
Yeah, the
Prince of
story
Persia. You'd fall down and go, shit, my guy died 3 times, and then you go and throw stones at a rock downstairs. But now you're watching it, and I legit, I'm not ashamed to say this, I cried at the end of Spider-Man.
I did. I totally
did. Let's hug Tejas, but no, seriously.
It hits you in the face.
And that's when I realized that, man, they've really sucked me in to the point where I'm looking at CGI, I'm looking at some faces that are slightly warped, even, you know what I mean?
It's not,
like Aunt May looks real, she's a little bit too real, looks like some putty on her face, but at the same time, you're like, oh shit, man, I feel this.
Dude, that's the thing about games. I mean, a lot of people have dismissed this art form. It really is an art form.
Really is an art form.
Man, how they have managed to kind of weave story, and it's the most sensory experience you can probably get. You go and watch an IMAX film, it's great, and you can feel a lot. But then if you participate in it, that's like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Have you played any other Spider-Man games before this? I
played all the Spider-Man games. I think every single one of them. The one I loved the most was oh my god,
OG Spider-Man, the
first one,
the Treyarch one.
And what really got me then was the initial tutorial voiceover.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
Not Stan Lee. Who's the guy from Evil Dead?
Bruce Campbell? That's the movie Spider-Man.
That was the movie Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Was Treyarch before that?
Treyarch did the Spider-Man game.
The one before that.
Yeah,
correct.
Comes out and Stan Lee opens the thing saying hello true believers and stuff like that.
But that one was great. But the movie Spider-Man for me was bomb. Everything was done perfectly well. Dialogue,
Ash from Evil Dead.
Yes,
Bruce Campbell. Yeah. Awesome show.
That was a wild.
Awesome movie.
They rebooted it, no?
They made it. Stars, the network, made Ash versus Evil Dead, which is on season 3.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny. They went with which is weird because it's Sam Raimi, right? It's the original director.
It's crazy how everything still looks like it did back then. They kept the demons and all looking still like
a little classic.
Freaky,
yeah. So you have played. I have played all of them, but I want to say hands down. Obviously, this is the best Spider-Man game.
This is the best Spider-Man, no doubt. When I first popped it in, I don't know if you felt this, but the
theme. Kind of kicks in.
Everything. What I felt was when I first started, I felt the controls to be a little sluggish, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was thinking, something wrong with my controller, something wrong with my PS4, something wrong with my display, something wrong with my eyes.
Yeah.
And everyone, because everyone online was like, this is the best Spider-Man game ever.
Yeah.
But then you realize that he levels up as he goes along.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I don't know why. I think I might have come from maybe I was playing God of War before that. Maybe so the control, when you shift from one speed of control to another, maybe that's what disoriented me. But as you go along, my God, the way the subtle differences in the way he starts moving and starts getting better, stronger, dodging, all that stuff. Oh my God, it's done so brilliantly.
Man, yeah, it's nuts. Like, in fact, like, I think the swinging is the best, like, it's very therapeutic, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, you know, they have a fast travel option in so many of the places.
But nobody uses it.
I never use it. I never use it.
I use it just because I want to see Spider-Man talking to another Spider-Man on the train and take a screenshot.
Those are man, but you can't screenshot those things, right? Like when you press the share button, I tried to do it.
So I found that, you know those opening screens where they...
Yeah, those
the loading screens where you can see Spider-Man. I kept looking at them and saying, man, that make a great screensaver.
Yeah,
and then you press the share button and it doesn't give you the option. But check this out.
Hit me.
So the moment it pops out, you press the share button, wait for a couple of seconds because the PS4 is still processing that shit. If you wait for a couple of seconds, it gives you the option to screenshot it.
Oh shit! Okay,
so
cool.
I've
nice, well done.
Thank you.
Okay, sick. Okay, cool. So I'll tell you what. Any other first impressions you want to get past? Because then we'll take a break. We're gonna come back and we'll talk about like the gameplay and like maybe talk about some of the missions and things like that, and just get into the premise of the story. But anything that stood out for you that you will never forget about this game? Give me.
The swinging, man. It's done so well. And especially, and if you're a really lonely person, then you'll just do that like the whole night and be like, I don't need to fight people. Let me just swing. It really is therapeutic.
Do you ignore any of the threats and all that used to come up?
Sometimes. I think, the officer would need help on train. That's okay, I'm just swinging. Let them help themselves.
I'll end with this. Did you know that if you go and save them, J. Jonah Jameson's the podcast which he does.
It reacts to what's happening. Dude, that was the best thing for me. There's that one, there's that one level where Spider-Man has to go and spray something in a park.
The research levels.
The research levels, okay. And right after that, the moment you finish it, you have J. Jonah Jameson coming on going, ladies and gentlemen, there's a crazy guy spraying birds in the park. And you're like, wow, I just did that. Yeah. Brilliant.
And now here's the thing. If you don't save somebody or don't do something, he reacts to that
He complains about that also. Shit, that's a great addition to it.
And the other crazy thing, just before I know it's so difficult to go to a break, but like the other thing which is really awesome, and this is something I only realized like somewhere halfway through the game, is that you get like two things about phone calls when you get in the game. If you are not swinging, he speaks normally. He's just like, Mary Jane, da. But if you start swinging, his voice gets really like,
I didn't notice that.
And mid-sentence, I don't know how they do that.
There's so much detailing, great stuff.
Even if you go to the menu while you have a phone call, the phone call cuts. And then you get a call again saying, hey, sorry, where was I? And it kind of continues through that.
Dude, wow. I didn't notice that. But that's the kind of detailing that really gets me, man.
Yeah, I just won the game. All right, cool. Let me just, let's take a break, come back, talk about the gameplay.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that their insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Geek Fruit Podcast. I've got Hoezaay here today. We're talking about Spider-Man on PS4 and... hit me with the story. I just want to give the premise of the story before we give so this is a full spoiler cast for the game. We're going to be talking about the ending of the game and what it means for the future of the franchise, etc. But let's start with the story of the game in general.
So the storyline, hopefully I'm correct about this.
Yeah.
Is Peter Parker, slightly older.
Yeah, that's the best thing about
it. He's fully sorted with all his moves and his powers and all that stuff. He's at that point in his life.
Yeah, good prime Spider-Man.
Strangely, I found that I don't know. You know how all these different universes and different storylines and stuff. It gets a little confusing.
It does.
But I'm used to the old Spider-Man comics that we would read in the midday.
Correct.
Where Spider-Man he was maybe in his 30s or 40s or something.
Yeah, awesome.
And Mary Jane, they're like a settled down couple and stuff.
Man.
So, but in the game, he's at that point in his life, but he's not seeing Mary Jane.
Yeah,
correct?
they've broken
kind
up.
of broken up.
Yeah, it's been 6 months.
I think they went
something.
more nuclear and made it a little more modern. They broke up.
Yeah. Because, and you know what I really loved about it is that you find out during the game that they've not broken up because of the same old reason that we've seen in the movies, which is like, I can't be Spider-Man and you can't be, like, I have to protect you.
Yeah.
It's actually because she was just tired of being like, like, she's like, you don't need to save my life and your life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
she wanted to be an independent woman. That's what she did.
Yeah, in fact, they've retconned her role. Like, she's no longer a model.
Yeah.
She's like a journalist with the Bugle, which is cool. I thought that was cool. So a story kind of begins where Wilson Fisk is you start right into the in media res into the game.
Oh yeah.
You're putting Fisk away because he's Wilson Fisk. Well, he's a kingpin.
No, he's already in a way, right? And you're helping him actually.
Is he?
Or is that the later on level?
No, you have to fight him. He's the first boss battle you get, right?
First you fight him. First you fight him.
You first fight him and you put him away, and that kind of sets the tone for the game, saying that, okay, cool, Wilson Fisk is away, but he's left all these kind of little, warehouses around the city which you have to take out. But there is a new threat in the form of Mr. Negative, a villain that has only kind of been in the comics for like the last, I'd say, 5-6 years maybe. And this whole kind of setup is that Aunt May is slightly older than, hot Aunt May from the movies or something like, she's like...
That was an anomaly, a glitch in the Matrix, where they had a hot Aunt May.
Hot Aunt May, okay. Yeah, that's what happens when you get Marissa Tomei to play Aunt May or anything. So, so she works at a center called Feast. It's like a community center where Peter Parker also kind of does some stuff. What do you think of, like, just generally the changes to, like, what we consider to be a Spider-Man lore? Like, I like that he's kind of in his prime and that he's already faced the villains. Like, a big part of the game is the backpacks.
Yeah.
And in the backpacks, you kind of find out, like, it's slowly kind of,
that he's been through, like, all these years of fighting all these guys.
Did you find it weird that even though he's been through, like, 8-9 years of being Spider-Man, he's still not faced so many of the villains in this game? Like, like the main villain of this game, which I guess we can talk about.
Yeah, this is a spoiler cast, right? Go for it.
Okay, cool. So the main villain, which was in the... If you remember when E3... Okay, for E3, this year's E3 had the... they had the playthrough and they were doing it. Yeah. It's that level at the raft.
Yeah.
And they show the last cutscene where it's like the Sinister Six has kind of like formed, and it's the last villain. He looks up and he says, "Oh my God, it's you!" And then it stops. And we find out in this game that it's Dr. Octavius, which is Doc Ock, which is awesome. I thought it was a really good villain, man.
And they did it well also.
Man, they did it so well.
Where he was not just a I'm going to kill you, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it all starts off as they're friends, they're working together.
That's how he works. Yeah, exactly.
But what I didn't see coming was... Like they take you through. Did
you see that coming?
I didn't see. What I noticed was that they work together. Everything worked fine.
Right.
Doc Octavius starts losing his mind a little bit. Yeah. But I didn't see him work all that shit in the background and get all the bad guys together. And what's crazy is neither did Peter Parker.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
Which was a little like.
Yeah, at the end, it's weird. Like there's a scene in this game which I really like, where Peter Parker is kind of working on the suit. It's kind of early in the game. He's working on the suit in Doc Ock's lab.
Yeah.
And then he sees it and he's just like, oh. You're obviously friends with Spider-Man. And let me help you. In fact, the white spider suit is his ideas, man. It's like Doc Ock's ideas, which is cool because he gives him the kind of upgrades and things.
Yeah.
But right at the end of the game, and this is what I was listening to a podcast with Brian Intihar, the guy who is the creative director for Insomniac, who's done such a good job with this game. And at the end of the game, there's a final boss battle, obviously, with Doc Ock. And he says... I know who you are, Peter, and he addresses him.
Like, I knew it all the whole time, yeah.
And he's just like, obviously, Dr. Octopus has to know who Spider-Man is because we are already establishing this guy as the genius that is. He's like the smartest man Peter knows.
Yeah. And he did all this without anybody knowing.
Exactly. Also. And if for him to not know who Spider-Man is even like, would have been stupid.
Yeah,
so it's like worked out really, really well.
Like I got fooled whenever Dr. Davis was like, no, Peter, I'll be better. And it was the arms, it was driving me crazy. I was like, okay, uncle, I'll help you, no worry. And then he's like, no, I planned everything actually.
Man.
I'm sinister.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Man, and you know what? Here's the other reason why they screwed us over. It's because they keep hinting that Norman Osborn is gonna be like a
and
villain.
they make him look so bad.
Exactly.
They've given him that, that ginger, red head, really overlooming, and I'm a businessman.
And he's got all these secrets. He's got a secret room. Man, in fact, that's like one of my favorite levels from this game. Okay, so let's talk about some of the missions. So obviously you play as Spider-Man, you upgrade, you get all the moves, you get all the gadgets and stuff. What did you think about like some of the other types of gameplay? It was like in this game you get to play as Mary Jane, obviously, and you get to play as Miles Morales, who's in this universe, by the way, which blew my mind the moment that happened. So what do you think of those kind of side missions? I feel like it was kind of a break. So it was not great. But
I had mixed feelings about it. For the storyline to go the way it did, it was actually kind of nice. Playing as Mary Jane or even Miles Morales without his powers, and walking around and sort of doing those things. But some of the stealth levels were not. They were little like. It's like those levels where you fall off a bridge in Prince of Persia and you start again.
You can't help it. It's like every time it's like, oh my god, wait!
It's terrible. So there's one bit where she's looking for the key to Harry's room.
In his that's a great level.
I spent fucking 45 minutes on that because I didn't notice the key in the frame, the photo frame.
Yeah.
And I'm used to having the key shine or some shit like that. Give me some kind of cue, man. And man, I spent 45 minutes. I was like, damn, this level is really pissing me off. But then once it was done, what I liked about the levels was they took that break from punch, dodge, explosion to storyline, little bit of stealth. And I was on the edge of my seat a couple of times when Mary Jane is like about to get caught and shit like that. So I liked it, but I also didn't like it.
I think you're right. In terms of like story building, it makes sense that you find out that Miles, who's obviously going to be Spider-Man at some point, spoiler, it doesn't happen in this game, but
it happens. But
it happens like it's a post-credit scene.
He gets bitten. Since it's a spoiler cast, I think we should just say
go for it. Yeah, he gets bitten. He gets bitten.
Peter Parker bites him. I'm kidding.
That would be hilarious.
That would be crazy if he could transfer his powers like that. He's like,
just I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take a chunk out of you. But you don't find it weird? I mean, in the original thing, he gets his powers he gets his powers also from his spider. But the thing is that it was weird because it comes through Mary Jane, who's on his back, then reaches him. It's like a chain of events, which is cool because it has to happen. But I just found that
also strange. I don't know if you've done or if you've gone deep into this, but my theory is that at least with the game, is that spider is the result of 10 more years of research, as opposed to the spider that bit Peter.
So he's gonna have like other.
So Morales does have different powers.
He does have different in the comics also. He does,
yeah. So I mean, I'm not sure if people know, but Peter Parker's dead.
Yeah. Well, he's back now.
As in. Yeah, this is this story, but as per the comic books,
so I'm talking about in the comics, like Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man run kind of nixes what do you call it, Peter Parker. He dies.
Yeah.
Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man. It's like a really convoluted story, but in fact he was the creative, like he was the like a story guy on this game also.
So Miles Morales' powers, I think, will surpass Peter Parker's.
It seems that way.
This thing because I was reading that. So Miles Morales, Peter Parker can detect something going wrong in that moment.
Yeah.
So he can sense immediate danger.
Yeah.
But Miles Morales starts having visions of things way into the future.
Like Madam Web. I think there's a good arc on that also. Yeah.
The other thing, I think he has electric webbing.
He has he can sense like stuff on his
wild. That's gonna be so good. I get goosebumps thinking about it all the time.
Man, I'm thinking like even the next if there's the inevitable sequel to this game is going to have.
Wasn't that what they were saying though? Is that the next Spider-Man is going to be Miles Morales?
I mean, I thought.
I don't know. You think they let us play as Peter and Miles?
100%. Like, it would be awesome.
A lot of people are saying that though.
You know, one of my favorite levels, in fact, in this game is one of those Mary Jane levels where it's in the Grand Central Station and she has to kind of use Spider-Man as like.
That was cool. Where you can call Spider-Man, he'd take people down for you. That was cool.
That was nuts. That was a really good level. And even in fact the level with at Norman Osborn's like his penthouse, the ending of that level is like this 2 seconds of cutscenes, but it's like one of my favorites where she's like going to the roof and she's like, okay, I gotta go, you gotta do it now. Jumps. And he catches her and she just looks at him and she's like, you are amazing. And I was just like, man.
And just before that he says, I'm not there yet. Brilliant.
Yeah, so good.
Shit, great stuff.
Such a good movie.
And movie moment. And the detailing, man, you keep coming back to the detailing. It's like I was reading and the moment I you know something's good when you spend the next 1 hour thinking about it, the next 3 days thinking about it,
seriously.
and you spent some time searching for what other people are thinking about it. You're looking for things maybe you missed. And I remember somebody was arguing, saying, "What the where did he get so many backpacks from?"
And they write it into the story.
They write it into the story where there's that point where he explains that he got it, he won
at
it
the
Fisk Science Fair, and he got a lifetime supply of backpacks.
I think that's just like a nod saying, yeah, I know people are going to adjust this. And they're going to say, man, but so funny.
That's so well done.
Yeah. Pretty hilarious. And it's just a clever way for them to kind of build a universe. And they don't have to do it in the next game, like they just have to kind of continue with the story and maybe find new things. What were your did you have any like favorite like missions or like side quests or whatever that were in the game? Like
a lot of the combat is it's pretty much the same thing with different variations. And like sometimes you go into a warehouse, sometimes you're on a terrace, sometimes you're down. They're all good. I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's like one of those things where it walks the balance between being like not being too intellectual, where you really have to think kya karna hai. And some places it's just like, oh cool, I just need to beat people up, I can just chill.
You can just jump into it.
Yeah. I think like one of the problems I had with one of these warehouse or the Fisk warehouse or the Demon's Den or I guess the Sable thing or the prisoner camps is that you can only do one wave stealth. Like you can only take them out stealth with one wave.
Because once you've taken everybody out, they're like,
and then they're like, oh, somebody's here.
Spider-Man's here.
And then you have to kind of get into it. I wish we could like do the entire 5 waves.
The only way to do all the waves in stealth is to take the first wave out in stealth, then you gotta hide.
Then you gotta hide.
Which is not
but they
cool.
won't go. That's the thing. They always have that question mark over their heads, and they're always looking. And wherever you are, if you move anywhere in the vicinity, they just like walk around, stand there. So you can take them out from afar, but it isn't as fun as
it's crazy. I think the same thing. And sometimes I'm trying to rationalize why they did that. So in my mind, I was thinking that the reason they did that was that, chalo, 20 guys are missing now, or 10 guys are missing from this thing, so then you'd be on high alert.
Exactly.
So, okay, fine.
I mean, yeah, it's true. But I think it's also a way for them to, like, they have those little bonus objectives where you have to build XP. So it'll say like, take 10 people out with electric webs
or 3 people to the wall and stuff like that. So you have to do that.
So that's there. Other favorite mission in this, what did you find about like having, the boss battles are very spread out in this game. Like there are 2 in the beginning, which is Fisk and Shocker, and then right at the end they're like 8 boss battles. It's like Electro and stuff, and the Raft and stuff. So did you find like did you needed more boss battles in the middle, or you like did you? I don't know how this game is designed. Like pretty, it's designed more to fit the story than otherwise.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I felt like what I did was I jumped into the game.
Yeah.
I started playing the storyline.
Yeah.
And then I noticed the backpacks, and then I have like
so
OCD. So I was like, I must get all the backpacks. So I spent the next night just only collecting backpacks. I collected all of it.
Yeah.
And when you do that and you do all those side missions, you end up powering him
all
the way up, right?
Yeah.
So he was a bit more powerful than I would have. Maybe they expected him to be in the game at that point.
Right.
But what happens is if you finish all that off, there's nothing to do in that base period till you get to the point where you progress the storyline.
This was my problem. I mean, you want to balance it out, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Man, my problem with Arkham Knight was the first time I played the game, I got stuck at one level which has the Batmobile. You're face these tanks, and this is the part of the game where Scarecrow releases gas in the city. This is such a game thing, by the way. The city is like now the city, whatever open world is, it's now. Such a game thing. I don't know why.
And everyone's hallucinating.
And the hallucinating thing is another game. Like somebody just tweeted about this recently. I can't remember who it was. He's like, guys, game developers everywhere, stop thinking that this is what happens when you get hit with a hallucinogenic. This is not what it looks like. This is not what everybody goes through. It's like, it's a weird thing. And here you're fighting Mr. Lee. Like, there's that one stage where you're fighting Lee, like Mr. Negative, and he's held you and he's using his negative energy on you, and suddenly you go off into this world for like at least like it's a 15-minute level, like aram se. And then you come back and he's still holding you. I was like, how long
Time is
this
relative, Tejas. Time
it's
is
a construct,
12 monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. But so my thing in Arkham Knight was like I wanted to just like power through the story mission because I was doing this weekend binge. It was the only time I had. So I wanted to do the story mission, but I got stuck because I didn't upgrade the Batmobile, and then I was stuck because I couldn't abandon that mission because it's a very in-story kind of thing, and you can't it's not an open world thing.
You can't go further.
So I got stuck.
I got stuck trying to solve one of the Riddler's clues, and I was like, damn, this is really annoying.
It is really annoying. And
some of them are too tough, man. Like, like the difference between Arkham and Spider-Man is all of Spider-Man's backpack questions are very
it's easy. It's like
you go there, you find the backpack.
Pretty much it, yeah.
And I mean, I get it. The Batman's a detective. He has to solve shit, but I can't spend 4 hours on a terrace trying to open a box. Are you crazy? The city's burning.
Yeah, really. I mean, no. Honestly, some of it is just generally quite. Arkham Knight was like the hardest for me. I think everything else was okay. City was also fine. But yeah, in this game, here's the other thing. You know what I really love about this game is the open world is so pleasant.
Yeah.
It's like this daytime New York, and even the nighttime is fine, dusk is fine.
Yeah.
The daytime
all
is
beautiful.
Awesome, man.
And like you're swinging through and the sun rays coming from the back, dude, man, they've just designed that shit so well.
Like, and they've done it apparently really pretty close to what like New York is supposed to be like.
Oh, have you seen that video?
No, which was
You haven't seen that video?
No, was it?
There's a video of a guy.
Oh, that guy who like he's playing
the game and he goes to his window.
Yeah, I saw
and it's
that.
the same building outside.
Same building.
I think that was the Islamic culture building in Brooklyn or something. Hilarious.
Man,
so well
insane,
done.
Dude. Like, you think about that kind of stuff. And I love how they've still made room for like the Avengers Tower, which is one of my favorites. Yeah. Because the moment you see it, you're like, holy shit, that's awesome.
And that's one of the, is it one of the achievements also? You go
have
up
to
there and jump
it's
off.
A landmark. You have to... You have to jump off of it.
You have to jump off of it to get some.
It's a research
one of the
thing.
Tokens, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Brilliant. And it's a landmark thing also. Yeah, that stuff. I really wanted to go to the Statue of Liberty, and some people figured it out. Did you know this?
Really?
Yeah.
Where is it?
So
I know where it is.
This is a bizarre one. We'll take a break after this, but this is a bizarre Easter egg that I was just looking on the internet. Man, I don't know how these guys. The day the game came out, and people are finding like glitches. They're taking advantage of glitches in the game.
Shit.
So basically, what you can do is you have to jump off the top of a building. I don't know how somebody figured this out. You jump from the top of a tall building into the water, but you get that skill in the skill tree. There's a thing where you can do like acrobatics and you can build like the focus and stuff.
Yeah.
So you keep rolling. And then you keep rolling. You hit the water, but you don't like go into it. You keep rolling. And somebody just kept rolling until they reach the Statue of Liberty, which has been made. It's not just like a matte kind of image that they've used.
Way.
And you go and he's used photo mode, and boom, he's got it. And
I must check those. That's crazy though.
How do they fucking figure out this stuff?
And you're telling me that the developers spent time putting this into the game when like 90% of people would probably not go to it, but now they will.
I think it's also because it's not too far like one of the boroughs like Queens or something, but you can see it. So when you see it in different perspective, you have to see a 3D image. So they figured it out. Man,
something crazy like whenever I'm playing out, sometimes I'll just get stuck in.
Yeah.
Like for example, I'll go to the top of a building on Spider-Man and then look down to see if you can see a car on the road, and you can.
And you follow that.
Dude, wow, that's amazing.
And then you can just follow cars, follow people, sit on the other thing is like you can just like people come up to you, you can high five them. I just found that pleasant Spider-Man vibe, right?
Yeah,
which I love reading as growing up.
That's high five, chest bump people on the road and stuff. And then some people like, excuse me, can you get away from me?
Yeah, I love the New Yorkers, man. So cool. Like some people is like, oh my god, can you take a photograph with my kid? Amazing.
Something else I noticed though, I don't know if you went through this, but when you're swinging through, you'll hear a lady say, help!
Yeah.
And then you turn around and there's nobody there.
Yeah,
I figured out what it was.
What is it?
So it's people on the street freaking out that Spider-Man just came by and they go, help! And then I'm stopping there to help them thinking that you need help.
I think you know what it is. It's basically, you can do that really close
really low,
swing.
So the AI is like, oh, what is that?
It's basically people jumping out of the way like in Vice City or something, or like GTA or something.
But how many times I stopped and went by? Somebody fix this!
Exactly, yeah, that's true. Oh, man. Okay, cool. So let's take a short break. We're going to come back, close the story off, and then talk about the DLCs.
So it's been another great week on IVM Podcast, just like it is every week. If you aren't following us on social media, you should. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Send us a message, send us a comment. Let us know what you think about the stuff that we're doing and the stuff that you're listening to. This week on Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by writer Vrishali Telang. She speaks about jumping from TV to books and her memories of producing MTV Loveline. On the Scene and the Unseen, Amit is joined by founder-editor of The Wire, Siddharth Bhatia, and senior editor of The Hindu, Peter Griffin. They discuss the current state of Indian media and the role of journalists today. This week, Indranil Guha, co-founder of FinPech, talks to Anupam on Paisa Vaisa about alpha SIPs. Last week on Know Your Kanun, lawyer and host Amber Rana took us through the history and scope of Section 497 and the time when adultery was first recognized as an offense. On the Kinetic Living podcast, Urmi spoke to IVM's co-founder Kavita Rajwade about her love for functional training, food, and the morning workout routine that she strictly follows. And again, guys, I just really want to remind you, the best way to spread the word about podcasting is you. You're our ambassadors. Please go out and tell a friend. Ask them to listen to something that you have enjoyed and that you think that they would enjoy as well. And with that, let's move on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Geek Food Podcast. I'm with Hoezaay. We're talking about Spider-Man on the PS4, one of our favorite games this year. Okay, cool. Time to get into the major spoilers, man. Okay, so the ending of the game. There's a big gas that is released in the city, as we mentioned earlier, which is like a toxin to kind of... What does it do again? What is it doing? It's basically making people nuts or some shit like that, right? Oh, it's Devil's Breath, correct.
Yeah.
Which
I'm a little hazy right now, also from the Devil's Breath.
Yes, it's Devil's Breath, which is basically... so just to kind of prime it, it's Devil's Breath is this thing that was created to combat a problem that Mr. Lee had as a kid. And while he was doing that, he kills his own parents and he blames Doc Ock and Norman Osborn for it. And Osborn also blames Doc Ock because he doesn't take, there's no accountability for it. And he goes, and Oscorp has been made by Octavius and Norman Osborn, but he leaves the company, blah, blah, blah. Big thing.
It's the Steve Jobs and
it's
Bill
the
Gates
story. Isn't it? Yeah, I got that vibe also. The Woz and the Steve Jobs thing. But so they both kind of have this vendetta against Norman Osborn, and he becomes like the central figure for that. Everybody kind of hates him for that. That's why the Sinister Six is organized, and Spider-Man is in the middle of it. Man, by the way, did you know this? So Yuri, who's the cop in the game, here's the most wicked thing I heard. The guy who plays Spider-Man in this game, his name is Yuri Lowenthal.
Yeah. The guy who does the voiceover and the
person who's playing Yuri is his wife.
So
he's been calling his own name to his wife.
Yeah, I read about this. That's really cool.
I found that absolutely hilarious. I think that was really good. Man, also it's weird to call this, but the acting is so on point in this game.
On point, yeah.
It's so weird like that. I noticed like the facial expressions are so like very realistic.
It's like they say, right? When you're speaking, people can hear if you're smiling, and people can hear if you're frowning, and they can hear whatever emotion you're going through. And the voice acting on Spider-Man is bomb. At no point do you feel like, oh, this was a line delivered to a microphone.
Yeah,
it feels conversational. Everything is bomb. Really good, really well done.
Insane.
Awesome.
Coming back, Devil's Breath is released in the city. Spider-Man stops it. He's the boss, and there's a beautiful moment right at the end of the game. So like you spend the last third of the game where the city's in pretty much shambles. Like everyone's like this, like prisoners, all of this. Basically Arkham City. It's like everyone's nuts. Everyone's kind of
every Spider-Man game has that 1 hour where the whole city is burning and like the aliens have come down and everything.
It's total, so the whole city is done, and the last act is where you have to fight Doc Ock on this roof and on the top of the Osborn building, and it's nuts. It's a really awesome level. Spider-Man gets a new suit. It's really emotional. Man, one part which I really enjoyed about it is that the last fight which you're having on the side of the building, they removed the UI from the game, like the HUD, and you're just playing it intuitively.
Brilliant.
It was really good.
During the fights where you'd have Vulture and Rhino.
Yeah, nuts.
I was like, oh shit.
Vulture and Electro and Rhino and Scorpion.
So you'd have two villains on screen. You're like, oh shit, how do I deal with this? And I remember thinking, oh my god, should I pause this and think about it for a second? Because like, oh my god, how do I take down two of these guys? But it's
done
so satisfying to be able to take down two huge
villains,
really powerful villains. And Spider-Man has that also. He like every time he's in danger, he knows that he can just move a little to this side, a little to that side, and be like, I Neo.
And it's fine. Exactly. Relax. That is the best thing about Spider-Sense.
Really cool.
So, right at the end, he has this fight with Doc Ock, and he kind of defeats him. And it's this really emotional moment, which I actually loved about this, where Peter kind of looks at Doc Ock and he says, it's like, I looked up to you. You were like a father figure, basically, and then you fucking ruined it. And there's one moment where Doc Ock is saying, Peter, just help me. He's incapacitated, and he's like, please help me. He's like, we have to use our power to kind of, help people, and he's almost got Peter back into it, and he's like, we have to help those who are beneath us, and he's just like, you know what, I'm done here.
Enough! I must leave.
It's good. And
really good, man.
Aunt May, last sequence, Aunt May is like suffering from this devil's bed. She's on a deathbed, pretty much.
Dude, this
is the scene.
Just let's take a moment to cry. This really got me, man.
This is the hard one.
This is the hard one. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So Aunt May is on her like this, this bed, and she's kind of, and the doctor's there, and Peter Parker is just like, I have the cure. I have the anti-serum. So he's like, what can I do? How quickly can I?
They can either give it to Aunt May now, or they can save the city by creating more of it.
But it's going to take some time.
Yeah,
which
but
Aunt May doesn't have.
And if you save Aunt May now, then you can't save the city. And the choice is obvious.
Yeah.
But they kind of make you feel like maybe he'll...
And he goes like so
he
close
goes
to
that
kind of,
close.
Man.
But then, of course, Peter Parker chooses the right thing. And you lose Aunt May in that
Aunt
moment.
May
Man, I cried.
dies.
I cried. I was like, dude, why did they do that?
It's so good. So good.
Shit.
It
I
was
really
hard.
felt bad. I felt bad.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, it was nuts. And man, the acting is so on point again in that scene. And you know, there was a great moment where Aunt May's on, like, her last few words are just like, you know, I want to see my nephew remove that mask. And he's like, how do you know?
That was really fucking good. Really
Shit,
good.
man, I'm
shit.
getting, like, woozy.
It's that whole vibe of your parents know everything.
Yeah.
You know, like you
Yeah.
can't fucking hide shit.
Yeah,
they'll let you go,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they know everything. Oh, that scene really made me cry. I was
Yeah.
like, and what's crazy is also in that moment while I was crying, I was thinking, man, how did this game make me cry?
Man,
how the
yeah.
fuck was I jumping around wearing really tight ass weird suits and shit and enjoying killing people and stuff, and I'm holding this funny looking controller in my hand, and by the end of it I'm crying.
Man. It's nuts.
I was like, dude, this is a masterpiece.
It really
I mean,
is,
if you
man.
can do that
And
to your customer, your audience.
The only time I've ever felt, I mean, like, I always like cry in like Pixar movies all the time. In fact, like that ending of Toy Story 3 when they're just heading into the lava thing.
Those
you know.
movies are made
Man,
to
I'm
make you
just like,
cry.
How are you, like, you're a toy, you're a fictional
the Grey's
thing.
Anatomy of an animation. You know?
Just cry, just tears.
Yeah.
Man, it's nuts. And like, and I'm looking at this and I was just like, this is so well done because it's such a difficult decision for Peter Parker. Such a great character.
Shit,
what
so well
amazing
done.
lore. And then whatever, the game concludes and he's lost. And by the way, sorry, another cool Easter egg. You can go to the graveyard where Uncle Ben and Aunt May are buried.
No.
And there's like the triangle thing pops up and you can say, and he's like, hey Ben, how's it going? You know, I've just been being Spider-Man.
Shit.
It's nuts.
Shit.
It's I'll tell you where, it's like where Washington Heights is supposed to be, basically in Harlem, the top left.
Oh my
Yeah, there's
god.
a, like,
wow,
little
man.
cemetery.
Next level detailing in this game. Dude.
Yeah, they have that in Arkham Knight also, where you can go to Crime Alley and and
Pay your respects. That became
too.
a huge meme.
So good. Awesome.
Pay your
So
respects.
cool. So that's the game, pretty much. Give me your on 10, bro. Give me a
On 10?
Yeah.
My god. I actually hate rating games
I know.
with numbers
Yeah.
because, and I also.
Okay, grades. We'll make this international.
I also
international school.
I also have this theory that when you consume content, it's also about the mood you're in.
Yeah. No, 100%.
You know,
Yeah.
so like I mean, good content is good content, but on a personal level, it also depends on where you are in your life and what.
Yeah,
So
what does it mean? Yeah.
So I feel like content is different to different people at different times in their life. But man, this game
It's up
kicked
there.
it.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's one of the best I've played.
Up there, one of the best games. Not just one of the best Spider-Man games, one of the best games.
Man, it's so weird. It's like sometimes I feel like the universe is aligned. You know, you take something that I love a lot, which is like Marvel and like Spider-Man,
And a
and you take
PS4.
a great game. And it's like you're making all these things. What a
So good, so good.
home run, man. Seriously.
But really awesome. What I really enjoyed in the game was all the suits.
yeah. Oh, what is your? Okay, give me a suit of choice. What have you?
Oh
what did you
shit,
use?
they were all good. I used.
Did you use them in the game, or did you? You know why I found it weird to change suits? Because during the cutscenes, it kind of takes me out of it.
Yeah. It takes it away because I don't think they prepared for some of them, right?
Yeah, like the spirit spider, he's got a flaming skull.
Oh, that was damn weird,
It
man.
was weird, but it's a funny one.
But you know what? The thing with
Okay, so give me your favorite suit and your suit power. Which one do you use?
I used all the suits. The advanced suit is really awesome
The
because it keeps
Stark one?
The first one that
Oh,
you get in the game.
the white spider.
Because it keeps
The focus one,
regenerating your focus.
Yeah.
The iron spider is awesome
Because of the other spider legs.
Those tentacles or whatever.
Yeah.
His legs, yeah. And what about the green suit, the stealth suit?
The stealth suit was the black one.
Is that the
Spider-Man Noir?
No,
yeah.
that's not. It's not called the stealth suit. I don't know what it's called. It's the one with the green neon lines on it.
Right.
Either way, all of them had their own little
Yeah.
like this thing and all, but it was really enjoyable collecting all of them and getting them.
It's a classic trope of a Spider-Man game to have
Nicely
the
done.
suits. You know, there's so many
Nicely
good
done.
suits. But did you miss the black symbiote suit not happening? Man, that's the main one, right? Like,
What? Are you talking about the last one?
That's the main. No, not the last one. The last suit in the game is the underwear. The Spider-Man is underwear. Yeah.
So that's the only one I didn't because I was like, man, enough now. I've spent my whole last 4 days looking for backpacks. Enough. So I've unlocked all the suits except that last
correct.
one.
Yes, yeah. So I was again in that same interview with Brian Attar. He was just talking about how he didn't want to put the symbiote suit because he's just like that's a story there. You know, we don't want to just give it. So, and you know, the ending of so the last one of the post credits is Norman Osborn going into that room.
And Harry's in that tank, which people are saying is the symbiote inside there. It does look like the symbiote. I think it pretty much is. Which
is interesting because we've never seen that happen.
So, like I said, they keep doing this thing, right? All these different universes and dimensions, and so there was one. I think in one of the Spider-Man, Harry becomes. Who does he become?
I know Scorpion becomes Venom at some point.
They have this weird crossover shit. Everyone becomes something
else.
They've done
everything, man.
They've done can we now?
Now
next.
Even Eddie Brock is no longer Venom. Like there's an Agent Venom also. There's so much shit
crazy
going on. Yeah. So suit powers. I think what was I using? I like the vintage comic book suit. The 2D suit on the 3D world looks like fantastic.
That looks so good.
Really good.
I really worked hard for that suit. That was a good one. That was a good one.
That's a solid one. The other ones which I used, I used the original Amazing Spider-Man suit, like the one which you start the game out with, because it's got one of the best things, which is the web blossom.
The web blossom. You jump up and
web everything. That is nuts, and you can finish like these normal thug gangs and all, you know, like very quickly. So I use that. Favorite Easter eggs? Do you have any favorite Easter eggs in the game? I have a couple, which I think
I didn't really spend much time looking for Easter eggs. I just went to the Avengers Tower.
I think
I found Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that was great. The Sanctorum.
Yeah, and other than that, I was just like I went through plowed through the storyline. I don't know.
Great, awesome. What do you want to see in the next game?
Oh shit, definitely Miles Morales, man.
100%.
I'm initially I was like Peter is our queen.
He's our boy, but we've had his moment,
and he's our guy, but. And I didn't want him to die. And then I was like, oh shit, he's already dead in the comics, damn it. But Miles Morales is the future, man.
Nah, it's the future. Even with this movie coming out, I think they're setting it up for him to be Spider-Man.
It feels
right?
like it's all tied in.
Yeah.
It feels like Into the Spider-Verse was made to release after Spider-Man on PS4.
Yeah.
Because it's right there.
Yeah.
Miles Morales has come in there. Of course, the storyline is slightly
but they're
different.
just introducing the character more and more through popular media. Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the next.
And I don't know how many people have heard of Miles Morales, because
most people, Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
People who are hardcore into it will know, but people who are not into the lore and reading up on comics and wiki and all that stuff might not even know that there is another Spider-Man.
But I think they're priming it because it's gonna. I feel like it might happen in the movies itself. Man, if you take something like Guardians of the Galaxy, 1% of people knew who that was,
and
then the trailer dropped, and boom,
yeah.
it's like one of the biggest. It's one of the fringe properties of Marvel, so that's kind of strange that they.
And Into the Spider-Verse has brought Gwen Stacy as a Spider-Man. As a Spider-Woman.
Ghost Spider, she's called. They've got Spider-Ham. Nicolas Cage is playing Spider-Man Noir, which is bizarre. That's insane. What a cast. Killer. Okay, chalo. So good time to be a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
And this is, we're going to throw this out. We have usually asked people what they want to see next. You can tell me this as well. What other Marvel character should have a really good game, and what kind of game? Like some people are saying Thor should have like a Witcher style game, like an RPG, like a straight up RPG.
Oh god, fun.
Yeah.
You know what we've still not had is a good game with a superhero with somebody like Superman's powers.
But so
no
I think
flying
Superman.
games.
So I think Rocksteady is working on Superman next, Man of Steel. This is what is on Reddit and stuff, man. Like most people
I've not seen anything yet.
Yeah.
Like maybe they are, maybe they're not.
Apparently there's.
But till date, imagine it's 2018. We have not had a single game where a character is able to fly.
Yeah. A
properly.
good flying. But like, you think that would be too easy then? Like, I mean, Superman is invulnerable. Like, how are you going to make a Superman game with a health bar and
so
stuff?
I think everyone will have kryptonite.
Yeah.
Like, it's the post-apocalyptic
But that's why
world.
Injustice works, right? Like, that's why Injustice has made it like they made it an action game. You know, that makes.
So
it
there's
easier.
this one game called Megaton Rainfall. Have you heard of it?
No.
So check out Megaton Rainfall. It is a game.
Yeah.
You are supposedly some kind of deity.
Yeah.
And you can fly, and that is apparently the only game where they've perfected flying and combat.
Nice. Okay, cool. I'm gonna check
And
this
it's
out.
I think it's out on PlayStation VR and also PlayStation. It's also a regular game.
Okay.
And they have a deal with PlayStation, so it's not coming in VR to any other platform currently.
Oh, it's like first party only.
Yeah. But apparently the best version of a flying superhero
Megaton
game.
Rainfall.
Megaton Rainfall.
Okay, awesome, sweet. We'll check it out. Hoezaay, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
No sweat, man.
Really enjoyed this. It's good to nerd out about a game, and I know very few people. I mean, how this happened for people who want to know is like literally asked on Twitter saying, "Hey, has anyone finished this damn game? I really need to talk about it with somebody."
Exactly. And that's when you know it's a good game, because when you finish it, you're like, I need to talk to somebody about how great it was.
Therapy, man. Like, I need to talk about Aunt May and shit. And I was like, it's hard. Anyway, so thank you so much for being here.
Hey, what do you want to see from the next game?
Yes. Oh, what do I want to see from the next game? Ah, man.
Miles Morales, of course.
I want to see both. Definitely want to see both Spidey. But, man, I would really like to see more street level here. I want to see some cameos, like the Sanctum Sanctorum is there. I know that's like too much, but if you could get like somebody like but like if you could get somebody like Daredevil or something in the game, that
just
would be
even like hanging out.
So like a mission to get something would be.
They
amazing.
had space to that, but still they did a ton of detailing. I mean, we can't follow them.
You can find Nelson and Murdoch, the alias investigations. They have everything in this New York, man. It's so well. But you think they can't scale the map anymore, right? Like, because it's gonna. Where will Spider-Man go and swing? You won't have this experience anywhere else.
I did want to go past the sea and to those bridge, places to make pictures, but they were like, no,
Queens
do that.
Or like Brooklyn. Maybe they should open those areas up and see what happens.
So next game, I'm okay if they don't have Peter Parker in terms of like playable. Because
like
in this
NPC,
game they let you have everything.
Man, this is his game. It's done.
This is his game. Every single thing. They went through all the suits. They went through all the powers and everything. I'd really like to see like the end. This game with both of them on the wall where Miles Morales says, I want to tell you something, and then he jumps and he holds onto the wall, and then Peter just goes,
it's like not that strange, and he jumps.
Okay, and he jumps, and they're both holding onto the wall, and I was like, oh dude, awesome. And then you watch Into the Spider-Verse trailer, and he's teaching him how to be Spider-Man, how to web swing and stuff. So I think the next game I'd like to see them explore Miles Morales the way they explored Peter Parker in this one.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great. In fact, it would be nice to have a Peter Parker and Mary Jane like kind of like a happy ending. You kind of like move it to the side and just say like, it's like what they did with Iron Man now, like that he's got, well, until now we know that he had a happy ending, like he's with Pepper and stuff, and we don't know how Infinity War is going to play out like the sequel, but but still it would be nice to have them. That's a good idea, man, just to have Miles as the main character.
And maybe Peter comes in like training missions and shit. That would be cool. That would be very, very cool.
Awesome. Sweet.
Loved it.
Cool. So that's our episode. Let us know what you want to see in the next Marvel game. Tell us your thoughts on Spider-Man for PS4. Is it the best game this year? I think so. I think it's right up there. You can mail us at contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. Find us on all our social media, which is @geekfruithq on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And we have more Neratorium episodes out. Yes, Hoezaay.
You know another thing, because you keep thinking about these things, right? How did that happen? How is that physically possible? Is the geometry right?
Yeah.
So Mr. Lee, who was Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative, yeah.
How come Peter Parker didn't sense that this guy was insane?
Yeah.
So this is my inner voice saying, how come he didn't sense it? And I'm also rationalizing and saying, so Mr. Lee was schizophrenic.
Was he?
So to speak.
Yeah, he had two sides, completely.
So now we don't know whether he was actually still bad when he was in his regular form.
Yeah.
So theory being that when he was like that, he genuinely didn't have any ill will towards anyone.
Because he still
Peter
was trying to be
triggered.
a good guy, he started this community center and all that stuff. It's a being human situation, bro.
Yeah. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
Awesome. Chalo. Okay, cool. That's our episode. Thanks so much, Hoezaay, for being here. And we'll see you next week, you nerds.
Shunyawan, 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 Shunyawan.
$1 billion acquisition. Another copycat startup got formed.
No, the tech world in India is surely moving double the speed of this voiceover.
Tune in to Shunya One every Tuesday to catch us talking to the smartest people we know on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Yeah. It's IVM here. Let's go. We the IVM kids on the block over here. Just to talk, taking a break from producing all day, coming on this podcast cause we got stuff to say. IVM Daily is the name of the show. Monday to Friday, we ready to go. talking about stuff in our head. We might even talk about our favorite bread. Signing out, it's IVM here, the podcast network that's in your ear.
Catch IVM Daily, Monday to Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.